understanding, Angus, with his hamstring, he had strains yesterday. Is there any chance that it's worse than just a week off?
Nah, look, it's very low grade. I mean, it was more hamstring awareness at training on Tuesday, and his history suggests we can't take a chance for that. And he has had a bit of ankle issues as well, so we've actually got the smart thing probably for us to do is to try and get him physically as right as we possibly can. Having said that, we've got a game next week and then a bye, so we'll play a pretty conservative card with Angus, I reckon.
Was there an incident that aggravated it, or was it more wear and tear?
No, it's just it was actually happened out here at training. He was going no more than half pace when he just felt like he was tightening, so he stopped, and that's because he knows his history. So when he's signalling he's tightening, it for us is a sign that we shouldn't be risking him.
Same one. Yeah.
No, it's the other leg that it was this year. So as I said, it's just Angus's history is. I think he said to me once that he's had a hamstring every year for 9 years. So he's just one of those players that has a little bit of soft tissue injury.
How much his injury sort of held him back this year?
Fair bit. Yeah, fair bit. Until he'd hurt his ankle, he was going really well for us. And since he's been back with his ankle, he himself would be the first to admit that it's been more difficult for him to play the way he'd like to. But we think he's been in form and he's done some really good jobs for us on restricting opposition halfbacks at times. So he's certainly been valuable to the team still. And we'd love him to be in the side this week. Unfortunately, we haven't got him.
So there'd be no guarantee to come back next week with the bye?
No, there wouldn't be. No, there certainly wouldn't be any guarantee. Anyone that's got a hamstring history, you're a little bit nervous about bringing them back in 1 week anyhow.
Will there be just the one change when teams confirm something?
Probably not. No, there'll probably be a couple.
With Gus, do you go like for like, and is Sam Gray that like for like?
You're on the money. I reckon you're pretty close. So yeah, I think once the teams are announced, you'll find that we'll have a similar balanced side that will look very similar to what it did last week. Whereas personnel that will replace certain personnel will come pretty similar.
After last weekend, you said that you sensed that there may have been a bit of a mindset change in the players in terms of the way that you guys are going through with your game plan and that. Is that been something you've addressed during the week, and how do you get them back on track?
Oh, no, I think we've been okay. I think we haven't played terrible football by any means. We've been in every game we've been a part of, and sometimes you've got to give the opposition a lot of credit for what they've been able to do. And we've been beaten by some sides who are in really good form. And if you look at the last game, you go Essendon's history was Essendon, Geelong, Essendon, Adelaide. Those sort of games have been really close games. They're 50-50 games. AFL football, they always are. And what we notice is that the opposition are probably trying to do their best work to shut us down, like we are to them, though. So people might try to make that a little bit more than it is. Or are they trying to stop your style of game? Well, they've actually been trying to stop our style of game for all year, and we've been trying to stop their style of game all year. So that's the arm wrestle you have every day.
You address it. You're down on contested possessions and things like that. You address that this week? Do you think you'll see a turnaround?
I think we've had games where we've been down, but we've also won plenty of games in that area. It's an area that we think we're quite strong in. But every week's no different though. You've got to, if you don't put your head down and go pretty hard, you get found out. And make of the stats what you will, but they usually come out the way they come out most times because there's one side's won the game, and that's usually because of simple things.
Do you say things like we can't afford to lose 3 games in a row? Do you talk about those things?
No, we don't want to lose 3 games in a row. Can we afford to? No one can want to, afford to, or any of those things. But in AFL football, it's tough. We could have been sitting here now at I don't know, what are we up to? How many games we played? 15. Could have been sitting here at 13-2 with a little bit of luck, but we're sitting here at 11-4 and 2 in a row that we've lost. We could easily be in a different position. We're not. That's the season. That's what you got to do. We've got to make sure that we play our best this week to try and give ourselves a chance to win. And I know that Richmond Football Club and Demo will be. They'll be up for the challenge. They're already saying that they want to take a big scalp, and they see us as that scalp at this stage. Well, we hope to take their scalp too.
Do you see any similarities to that run of losses that you had last year? Can you sense anything that is similar? I know it's only 2 losses, but is it similar?
Nah, not really. I think we're in pretty good form as far as consistent form and consistent effort. I think that's there most weeks. Last year, early in the year when we went 5-0 and then 5 in a row, we lost. We got beaten badly in some games in that period. But it's just part of what we try to avoid. We're actually trying to grow, and we think we're improving. There's no doubt we think we're improving in 2014, but we've still got a lot more to improve on.
looked like Schulz was getting a lot of the ball further up the ground last week. Is that something that you saw, and would you rather him stay closer to goal?
Oh, no, I think Schultz's game style is pretty consistent most weeks. He works, at times he'll work up the ground to connect us, and then he'll obviously be, hopefully from our point of view, he's doing most of our finishing work because as he's proven, he's quite deadly when it comes to finishing, which we haven't been as good as we need to be at.
Yeah, is he getting enough help, do you think, or now that Angus is out, is it important that everyone sort of steps up a bit?
Oh, no, yeah, every week it's important that everyone steps up. I mean, there's plenty of support. The whole team, they're out there playing their roles. Schultz is one part of that, so he doesn't need any more or any less help than someone else.
Ken, as a punter, I steer clear of Richmond games because you just never know what they'll put out there. Do you have a bit of anxiety about which Richmond will turn up?
No, I don't. I have anxiety every week about who we play. I've got to say, it's I never go into any game thinking that this is just going to be a day where we're going to be able to roll out there and do what we want to do and win the game of footy. I'd love to be able to think like that, but as AFL coaches, you just know that the comp's so close. Richmond, they're as good as any side when they're up and about, as you said, and they haven't played as well as they would have liked to consistently, but I think they may have won a couple in a row and we've lost a couple in a row. So when you look at that, you go, well, who's in form, who's not in form? It's a game where it's a 50-50 game. We've got to absolutely bring our absolute best game to give ourselves a chance. And we're travelling. We're not playing at Adelaide. We're actually travelling away. And some of the things we've been able to do early in the season is win away from home. That's another task for us.
Does playing at the Docklands make a difference? If only in the mental side of the game, there's been a question mark over the wet, etc., and your side. But does playing at the Docklands give you that mental edge?
It's good for us, I think, that we get to go there. There's no doubt. And you're talking to a couple of players, you just know that you're going to go and play in really good conditions. We're not a fair weather team though. We're a team that can play in any conditions, but that going there, it's going to the conditions you're actually going to face. That's the uncertainty goes away a little bit. Sometimes you can wait. Even last week, you get to the game, you're warming up, it's raining, and the game becomes pretty slippery for the rest of the day. Tougher game. We don't think that's an issue for us, but some people want to make it more of an issue than it is. But it's good that we're playing at the Docklands.
How's Carlisle coming along with the hamstring? Is he going to be back next week? Or?
We don't know yet. I was reasonably confident he might have even been right for this week, but with a hamstring, you got to go through each step, and you can get to one day and it turns around. So hopeful, but if there's any risk, we just won't take it, especially with the bye the week after. That's just common sense for us.
You talk about a few people sort of making a bit more of you guys playing in the wet, and naysayers will sort of come out after you've lost a couple in a row. Do you mention that at all to the players, or like to try and sort of boost their confidence, or you've got no problem?
No, not really. It's probably more interesting for you people than us that we have to play every week, wherever it is, and we're happy to do that. We like to say that we can play everywhere, anywhere, anytime, against any team, and give a good account of ourselves. Conditions are one part of that. We look forward to whatever the conditions are, and we know on Sunday they'll be pretty good.
What's the 8-day break that allows you to achieve?
We get a little bit more training. Obviously that's what you can do in an 8-day break. You get to just focus on a few more things that you're trying to make sure we're improving in still. And you get a Tuesday run and a Thursday run for your group, and that really helps. It's not significant. 8, 7, 6. They're not that big a deal in season now. If you're doing 6, 6, 6, 6 and travelling all the time, it might become a little bit more of an issue, but we don't think it's too big an issue.